Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And folks, we back, baby. We are back, and we are ready to roll. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. My handle is CTABANZ. So, Stephen A. Smith recently made a lot of news because he recently did a visit on Gil's Arenas podcast, right? He was on there talking about his career, talking about the state of affairs in the NBA and his issues with LeBron James, blah, 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 blah. But then they got to the point where they were talking about this kind of GOAT debate and who deserves to be in the GOAT debate. And inevitably, the person that was brought up was Kobe Bryant, and Gilbert Arenas brought up Kobe in this particular segment. And Stephen A. Smith, although there are videos out there of him begging Kobe Bryant to accept the Michael Jordan comparisons, we did a video about this before we went on break, he now seems to get irritated whenever they bring up Kobe Bryant in the GOAT debate. So I was very keen to hear why he believes that Kobe, should be behind Jordan and especially LeBron James. So as Stephen A. Smith began to talk, as I'm listening to him, I'm saying to myself, I'm like, yo, this dude is out here just straight up making up fantasy. It's like Final Fantasy with this dude, and making up things that never really happened and telling stories about Kobe Bryant that weren't true. Like, oh, the Lakers were suffering with Kobe and this and this. And I'm like, what is this guy even talking about? So for those of you who didn't get a chance to listen to what he had to say, want to play what he had to say for you now, and then want to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what Stephen A. Smith had to say there.
What is the criteria that media is being used or
I don't know.
using?
I think that's a legitimate question, and I don't think there's one definitive answer to that, to be in fairness to you. And I think that one of the great things about this podcast is that no matter how we feel, when y'all open y'all mouth and y'all start talking basketball, and I got to give Kenyon love for this too, because Kenyon's always been a serious brother. He means what he says, and he says what he means. And even if he's wrong, it comes from an edified place. He ain't speaking ignorantly. He's making points. It's just that sometimes you agree or you don't agree with him. But he's a rough rider, and I got mad respect for him. I think it's important to understand that when we look at Jordan, for example, we look at 6 finals, 6 MVPs, unblemished in that championship round, never allowing a Game 7 to take place. We've seen in one pressurized moment after another where he answered the call. Mm-hmm. We look at Kobe. He's a 5-time champion. And you have a lot of people out there that put him ahead of LeBron because of that. I think Kobe was a killer, God rest his soul. The brother he'd be somebody that he'd give it to you. Mm-hmm. And not to say that he didn't play defense, because obviously, in his prime, he was an elite defender. The flip side to it, however, is that when you're playing with Shaq and the rest of the crew, and then ultimately Gasol and Bynum and the rest of the crew, you had a crew. When you struggled, you really, really struggled. Mm-hmm. That was never LeBron. See, when you look at LeBron took that team to the finals, and then you get swept by San Antonio. But you saw what he did. Right. Everywhere he's been, teams have elevated. Mm-hmm. So you can't take that away from him because he's 6'9", he's 260, because he could play inside and out, because he can be, lethal in the open court, because he could step things up defensively, because of so many things that he brought to his arsenal, and how he would create mismatches, which I think is one of the things that he's done better than most. You look at him along with the 4 championships and what have you, and you say you can't take that away from him, because as bad as the Lakers were as they descended, right, in Kobe's final few years there, would that have ever happened with LeBron? The answer is no. With LeBron James, no team would have been as bad as the Lakers were at one point. So you take that into consideration as well. You think about all of those things. And then you look at a Bill Russell, for example. Yeah, different time, 11 championships, 13 years, you get all of that. But in the same breath, he was a defender and a rebounder, but far from an offensive juggernaut. You look at a guy like Wilt Chamberlain, arguably the most unstoppable big man in the history of basketball. But I'm looking at your number one nemesis, which was Bill Russell, and he outnumbered you 11-2 in titles. Plus, you had quit in an NBA Finals game in the eyes of a lot of spectators. So you got that going on. I'm looking at Jerry West, God rest his soul, the silhouette, where you won 1 title in 9 tries. You see what I'm saying? I'm looking at that. I'm looking at Tim Duncan, the 5 titles. Yeah, but it was Popovich. Yeah, you Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker and the crew. But you know what? You got the Lakers a couple of times. They got you a few times. Not quite the same. The Diesel, Shaq, dominant. But a big man that played bully ball but struggled at the free throw line with 52% shooting from the free throw line, et cetera, et cetera. You got those things. There's so many different things that go at. Tracy McGrady was big time. T-Mac was no joke. But you got the title when it didn't matter. When you were in your prime, certainly Grant Hill getting hurt didn't help in Orlando. It's not your fault. We know that you had those requisite skills. But what will forever be held against them was not only the absence of titles, but you were up 3-1 on Detroit. And basically said the series was over. And Chauncey and them brothers came back on you. I'm just saying. I'm not talking about, I'm not saying it was his fault. I'm saying his words before the series was over. You know what I'm saying?
Excellent. So you heard what he said. Now, there's something interesting I want you guys to pay attention to. In that sound, you could basically hear Stephen A. Smith pointing out all of the flaws and all of the shortcomings and all of these great players, and then basically didn't even do that for LeBron James. But let's get to some of the issues I took with him. This guy said that towards the tail end of Kobe's career, the Lakers were struggling. This is a fact. And that would have never happened on LeBron James's watch. And the most important information he forgot to leave out was, number one, the last year Kobe was healthy with the Lakers, they made the playoffs. That was the year Kobe gave that guarantee. When they had Steve Nash, Dwight Howard, Paul Gasol, they made the playoffs that year, and he tore his Achilles tendon in the process of them making the play. So that's the first thing. He left out the fact that Kobe had an Achilles tear, and he was playing with a bunch of nobodies for the final few years of his career. That's the first part. But he made it seem like, well, that would have never happened on LeBron's watch. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Because when LeBron got to the Lakers, his very first season, they missed the playoffs. They missed the playoffs. What are we even talking about right now? They missed the playoffs. Then the next year, the offseason, whatever, they acquired Anthony Davis, and then I think they won the championship that year. Then the next year, they went out in the first round. Then I think the next year, they acquired Russell Westbrook, and they won 33 games. You're talking about ineptitude when Kobe was there. They won 33 games with 4 Hall of Famers on that roster. 3 top 75 guys on that roster. What are we even talking about? When did Kobe miss the playoffs with 3 Hall of Famers on his team? 2 Hall of Famers. When did that ever happen? And he was healthy. When did that ever happen? But if you listen to Stephen A. Smith, you're like, well, the one thing you say with Kobe, with LeBron, LeBron would never let it get to that point. When that's exactly what happened. Do you forget that they won 33 games? To put that into context, Jordan's Wizards won more games than that Laker team did. Then they got bounced out in the first round and in the first round while playing with Anthony Davis, who's better than Paul Gasol. There's no question about that. Anthony Davis is a superior player than Powell. Hence the reason he's a top 75 guy. But minus the list, if you look at AD and you look at Powell, you can clearly see who's better. He's stronger, he's faster, he's more athletic, he's a better offensive player, he's a better defensive player. Like, what are we talking about here? So when Kobe was missing the playoffs, he was playing with rookies and like Julius Randle and these guys. He wasn't playing with seasoned guys that they were arguing whether or not they're the better player between them and Giannis like they were doing with Anthony Davis. What are we talking about here? And then the part that kills me in all of that is he then goes on to list this guy's flaw, Jerry West's flaw. He's like, well, Jerry West is a great guy, but he didn't make it to the finals. He only made it to the finals. He only won a championship. He made it, 9 times, but he only won 1 championship. But then you then put a guy in the GOAT conversation and say he's behind Jordan when he lost 6 times in the finals and Kobe lost twice. So it seems like Stephen A. Smith doesn't even have a criteria. His criteria was just pretty much all over the place. And my thing is, why do you have to lie to help LeBron? Just help him with the facts of his career. You don't have to leave out key information about other players to make your point. And that's what I felt like the guy was doing there. He was literally trying to diminish Kobe and rewrite his history to make LeBron seem greater. LeBron would never let that happen on the Lakers' watch. What? What? Have you not been following the Lakers for the last 7 years? They won one title. They missed the playoffs, one time, and it got bounced out of the first round the remainder of the time. What are we talking about here? I just thought that was ridiculous. We did a live about it, but I wanted to expand a little bit further on my thoughts. So what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think about Stephen A. Smith going out there and providing selective history for the viewers of Gil's Arena to make it seem like, oh, well, LeBron, he could do anything with anybody. Meanwhile, Kobe had everybody and he did nothing. I thought that was a pretty low blow. You guys let me know what you think about it in the comment section. We'll catch you on the next show. Peace.